Hello, welcome to this webinar on plagiarism. This particular one, we are going to look at reasons of plagiarism and some cases so that you can be clear what situation that happens to you is considered plagiarism if you go through with it. If you have some audio problem, please use your headset for clearer audio. Thank you. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is an act of presenting another person's work or ideas as your own. So if you copy and paste and you didn't cite, that's plagiarism. Even if you paraphrased the person's work into your own words, you managed to transfer the person's idea into your work and did not cite. That is plagiarism. If you're planning to copy something 100%, whether if it's a sentence, half a sentence, two sentences, one word, a phrase, please make sure you consider them as direct quote and cite with page. Plagiarism is considered academic dishonesty. So if you claim something that you've claimed something, but you have actually taken it from someone else's work and you didn't declare it, you're being dishonest. It's not a crime per se. You won't get in trouble with fines, or the police will not come after you because you've plagiarized two sentences that's equivalent to 2 days in jail. There's no such thing. But there are consequences. Please make sure you know the consequences of plagiarism at our university. So there are two very common plagiarism. One is deliberate plagiarism. This is when you make the decision to steal someone else's work. You just say, well, I'm too lazy, or I don't have time to do this work, so it's so much easier to just copy and paste. That's deliberate plagiarism. Or you are very tired, you have a poor time management, so you're always late for something, and then you always have no energy to do your work. Then you say, oh, it's so much easier to just click copy and paste. Some students might think that our professors don't care, or they don't notice that you've committed a plagiarism. I think then you should not think like that, because all our professors, especially in our faculty, they care and they will notice this. A lot of the students might say, well, the other person's work is so well written, I can just take it, it's easier. Then I don't have to sit and think how to restructure my sentence, and that's stealing someone else's work. So it can involve by you can copy your friend's work, you can use your friend's past essays, but please cite them. You can copy another person's work from a book or a journal, but you have to cite it. But if you just copy and no citation is given, that's plagiarism, even on the website. Or you ask another person to do the work for you, that's really cheating. Some students also would do this, or this. The professors are well aware there are some students who are doing this, and actions are being taken as well. So all these deliberate plagiarism, it's really a no-brainer. In all cases, if you do not do the work yourself, you don't learn from it. And the purpose of studying here is to learn something. So if you don't learn something, it's a waste of your time, it's not useful. Please do not do this. There are many ways your lecturers can check whether or not you've plagiarized, not just with the plagiarism checker. There are many other ways, and it's not worth the risk. There's another one called accidental plagiarism. Accidental plagiarism occurs when there's carelessness. Maybe your paraphrasing skills is not very good, then you have accidentally taken something from somewhere else and did not cite. Sometimes some students are ignorant and they do not know that if they copy, they must do a direct quotation. Yeah, because they do not know that you must not copy a person's words directly, because if you do that, that's called direct quotation. A direct quote must have a citation. Or they do not have the skills to express another person's ideas in your own words, because if you do paraphrasing exercises in English class, the exercises are easier, but in reality your academic papers and textbooks, when you read them, they are much more advanced in the language, in the language level. So then when you don't have that skills to transfer into your own words, then you find difficulty, and you may have accidentally picked a phrase or half a sentence into your own word without citing. Or you do not know the correct system for indicating that you are using another person's words or ideas. That's why I will show you some samples in the next few webinars on this plagiarism series. And if you're not sure how to cite, I have webinars on the citation styles and samples and guidebooks in the academic writing support module. The support is there. You just need to use it. Yeah, you cannot claim that you don't know anymore because it's there for you. Here's one very common thing that happened. When you take a note from a book or journal and you copy out some sections, and then this 100% copy out, you did not make it clear that in your notes it's 100% copy, and then later, a few weeks later, you reread your notes and you say, all right, I'm going to use this bit here, and then you didn't realize, or you have forgotten that this particular 4 words or 1 sentence is actually 100% copying. So you need to be aware when you take notes from books and journals, even in websites, you have to find out that, okay, this part's here that's highlighted, that's 100% copy, and so on and so forth. So your note taking must be very carefully done. Yeah? And if you are a Harvard referencing user, Harvard, ASA, and Oxford referencing, then you should know that in websites, you need to also record in your reference list the access date. So whenever you look at an article in the internet, then you will find naturally the publishing year, but then the day that you decided to use it, or the day you're not sure but you want to keep it aside, make sure you keep that day's date, record it somewhere in your notebook. This is when you accidentally, through carelessness or lack of skills, use another person's words without acknowledging. So this is what happened. You do not have time to include acknowledgement or a list of reference. We found some students who say, oh, it's just one, nobody really cares. Excuse me. But I said earlier, our professors and lecturers, they do care and they do notice. You might feel that your written work is not good enough. Just bear in mind, the people who have published their work in journals and books, in textbooks, in magazines, they all have gone through a long series of editing. Proofreaders will proofread, editors will look through their work before they publish it. So naturally, their piece of work sounds more professionally written. You should not think that because of that, then your professors assume that you can write professionally like that. If you think you are not good in certain grammar or you're not good in punctuations, please brush up all these grammatical skills. And this will definitely help you with paraphrasing. When you borrow your friend's notes, you need to realize that this particular friend is very good in note-taking and also recording where they have taken the notes. Because if you don't realize, then you have accidentally plagiarized. something else. So let's look at some cases, and you can pause the video so that you can think about the case before you answer. But me recording it, I will not pause this video. Alright? Case A. You did not provide a reference when you use somebody's idea. Is this plagiarism? So that's the source, and then that's your work, and you copy it 100%. Yes, that's plagiarism. B. Copying a few sentences from an article on the internet without giving a reference. Yes, that's plagiarism as well. C. You are not giving a reference when you use commonly accepted ideas. For example, AIDS is a growing problem. So, what is common knowledge? Common knowledge means it's a well-known fact, the information that is likely to appear in sources and to be familiar to a large number of people in your field or in general. Then that is considered common knowledge. Then you don't have to cite, it's not plagiarism. However, provided that making sure that you did not copy this particular phrase or sentence word for word from a source. If you do that, even if it's a common knowledge, please cite that work. Or if you're not sure if the information you want to use meets this definition, so you have doubt, please cite. Giving reference, but not using quotation marks. So there's no quotation marks, and there's a reference when you take a sentence from another writer's article. Plagiarism. So you should be doing this. So this is the original material, and that's the part you want to use. So make sure you put the quotation marks because it's 100% copy. And this referencing style is the APA style. Not all styles are referenced the same, so please make sure you know your referencing style. So it has a quotation mark, or you do it in such a way, still with quotation marks and references. When you take a paragraph from a classmate's essay without giving reference. So this is your friend's essay, classmate's essay, and then you used it. What do you think? Yes, plagiarism. Or when you're presenting the results of your own research. So that's the data from your own research, and you put it in your work. That's not plagiarism. It's your own work. Now, the next 11 statement or case study or scenario, would you then consider these as acceptable or unacceptable in the situation of plagiarism? So for example, you change some of the words and sentences in the text, so that's the text, but you keep the overall structure of the text and the vocabulary the same as the original text. So you change a few words. For example, you say, I know another word for these words, so I'm going to change that, and then I'm going to replace it with these new words, but the structure is still there. It is considered plagiarism. It's a very simple paraphrasing exercise that you learn in primary school, grade school, but it is not acceptable because a lot of the words are still retained there. If you plan to do this, I would probably say, why don't you just do a direct quote? Sometimes it's called paraphrasing by synonym or jigsaw paraphrase. It's not acceptable. You take some short fixed phrases from several different sources. You have source 1 here and source 1 there and source 2 there. You say, oh, I like this phrase and I like that phrase, and then you put them together with some of your own words because they're nice phrases, you know. And unfortunately, sometimes these phrases contain, you know, context and information, and you claim them as your own, like this. It's not encouraged. If you want to use these short phrases, you can. You just need to add citation. So for example, you must restructure in such a way, perhaps. 3. You copy a paragraph directly from a source with no changes. I think by now you're a semi-expert in plagiarism, so you do know that it's not acceptable. The man has a star there. That's because you can fix this issue. If you want to cite, and you could cite this paragraph with a proper format called block quote or long quote format. Please see your respective referencing style guidebook or the academic writing manual, and there are visual samples for you to see how to quote and cite block quotes. When you copy a paragraph making only small changes, so that's the paragraph, and then you make some small changes here and there. Again, it's quite similar to the jigsaw paraphrasing. That's not encouraged. Now you still retain most of the original wordings, and this is not encouraged. Then you may as well do the block quotation format. When you copy out an article from a journal or a text, and then you submit this piece as your own, that's not allowed. Okay, so whatever you copy, you need to do a direct quote, cite with page. Do not claim it as your own, like this little guy here. You cut and paste a paragraph, so that's, or a sentence. You use the sentence of the original, but put 1 or 2 in a different order and leave 1 or 2 out. So you say, oh, this is a nice piece of paragraph. I don't need this sentence, chuck it away. And why don't I make it into a passive sentence instead of an active sentence, like this. And then you say, wow, I rearranged it, so it's my work now. That's not encouraged, not acceptable. So which is the correct way? Should you do like students A? Nope. Just because you cite and you've taken the work like this and you move around the sentence structure, this is still plagiarism. Should you do like student B? Nope. Because when you copy 100%, it is considered plagiarism. You should do it in such a way. Student C, you can copy 100% at the quotation mark plus the citation and the page number as well. Number 7, you paraphrase a paragraph. You rewrite the paragraph but change the language. You rewrite, you change the language, you change the detail, you reorganize, you give some of your own examples. Again, this little man says not acceptable with a star. That means it can be fixed. As in, it says, because plagiarism is about taking other authors' idea, do not forget to cite and reference. So even though they are all 100% your own words, you still need to cite author year. and then make sure this author has a reference at the end. Okay? Then that's okay. And this is called full sentence paraphrasing. Number 8, you quote a paragraph by placing it in a quotation mark like that. So you say, oh, I like this little bit, so I 100% copy it. I put quotation marks and acknowledge the source. I have the author, year, and page. By now you should know that this is okay. So there's quotation marks, and that's the source. And of course, if I go to your reference list, I will see the source more in detail, where I can find the material. Number 9, you rewrite a passage from another writer and present it as your own work. By now, you should know this answer is not acceptable. You just take a word, one word or one phrase from a text because it's so well expressed. But sometimes this particular phrase or half a sentence contain ideas, and these ideas, they don't belong to you, so you have to remember to cite. If you don't, it's not acceptable. If you do in such a way, that's okay. Okay? So there are some steps to avoid plagiarism without using technology, as in plagiarism checkers. When you copy 100%, please consider this as a quote, whether it's a regular quote or block quotes. Block quotes are usually more than 40 words, and then you need to add the quotation marks with citation and page number. Excuse me. Another way is, most of the time, sometimes you want to summarize someone else's work, a chapter or paragraph, a book, articles or more. Then you need to cite with page numbers. A full sentence paraphrase work would have your own words, mostly. You still need to cite and give credit to the original author. That's it. Thank you for watching. Please watch the other plagiarism webinars as well that's out there. Bye.